Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So for today's video, I wanted to take a look into the PvE server and see exactly what's happening there at the very moment, because there's actually a lot of new information and changes. So as usual, if you guys end up enjoying this video, then definitely hit that like button, especially if you want me to continue making these specific type of videos in the future. But let's actually take a look at the PvE server and see exactly what's happening, because again, there is some juicy information. So the first thing to talk about is going to be very quickly, Katarina is getting a nerf. Now Katarina is known to kind of terrorize mid lane at the moment. She's probably the best assassin right now because she just does so much damage. She is relatively safe and she just can't really make any mistakes against a Katarina at all, whether it's in the laning phase or later on in team fights. She snowballs really well and all that good stuff. So the nerf to Katarina is as follows. Her passive, where she picks up the dagger, which obviously works with her Q and her W, the damage the dagger actually does has simply just been decreased. It starts less and it also ramps up a lot less as well. This is actually a pretty good nerf. I mean, I don't know for sure if this is enough of a nerf in terms of how much actual less damage it now does whenever she picks up the dagger and does the whole kind of AoE spin thing, but this is still definitely a step in the right direction. I don't think this is going to completely gut Katarina, but it should definitely, hopefully, put her in a better spot. But moving along, we have the first rework, or I guess mini rework, that we're going to be talking about in this video, and that's going to be to none other than Master Yi. Now Master Yi is kind of just like a lower version of Yasuo, I'll say, because, you know, people love to hate on Yasuo and people also love to hate on Master Yi, though not as much do people hate on Master Yi compared to Yasuo. Because at the end of the day, when Master Yi is fed much like Yasuo as well, it feels almost impossible to do anything about it. But regardless, the rework to Master Yi is as follows. The HP regeneration on him has been very slightly lowered, but that's obviously not the part we care about. Next up, we have his Q, Alpha Strike. The cost on this has also been lowered as you rank it up, all the way up to a 20 decrease in mana by rank 5. But the actual big change to him is towards his W, Meditate. First of which, the cooldown on this ability has actually been lowered by 10 seconds. The healing per second has just been flat out lowered. Not only does it start 10 lower, but it also maxes out at 80 rather than 110. No longer will Master Yi's Meditate heal him more if he's missing HP, so that's completely gone, but it now has a new effect, which I don't really understand why. And it states the following: if full channel succeeds, so in other words, if you actually do your full meditates, the next 3 attacks restore from 30 to 50 base plus 20% bonus AD health and reduce the remaining cooldown of his other abilities by 1 second. Again, I'm not entirely sure why this is, or what the purpose of this, or what the intention of this, or what Riot exactly was thinking when they made these changes to Master Yi. Not entirely sure how it's actually going to affect him, other than the fact that it, in theory, I'm assuming is going to make him feel a little bit slower. Instantly, I think that maybe his jungle clear might be a little bit better, since not only is he still getting heals, obviously, but he's also reducing the cooldown on his ability, so he can use, for instance, Alpha Strike more often, which I guess is a good thing in the clear. But in terms of maybe mid-game to late game, when actual team fights start happening and Master Yi just starts popping off, he won't really have the luxury so much to just kind of stand there and do the full meditate, because it does last a long time. So again, I'm not entirely sure on what the purpose or the intention of these changes were, other than maybe making his jungle clear better. I'm assuming at least it makes it better. So you guys can take it as you will. I guess take it with a grain of salt, and maybe in the comments below let me know what you think about these changes to Master Yi, and if you think it's a good thing or a bad thing. Moving along, we also have a mini rework happening to RENGAR, which is going to be kind of like a rework of the champion in an odd way, because essentially his Q has been reversed to what it was before the actual rework happened to RENGAR. But let's start from the beginning. So first things first, the base HP and the base AD has been lowered, but the AD growth has been increased. Moving on to his passive, Unseen Predator. The Bone Tooth buff has been changed from giving 1 up to 20 flat AD and % bonus AD to now starting at 1 up to 25% bonus AD and AP. Which definitely kind of begs the question, is AP RENGAR going to be a thing once again? Because before, when this used to be a thing, it was pretty obnoxious. You would just go this random full RENGAR tanky kind of AP build and you would just be unkillable but still do decent damage. But the leap distance from target on landing has also been lowered by half. But then we move on over to his Q ability, where, like I said, essentially it's just been reverted to what it was prior to the actual rework. So the change is as follows. The new effect is active. RENGAR's next attack deals from 10 up to 150 base damage plus 1.1 total AD in damage. And the empowered version of this is essentially the same thing, just more damage, starting at 30 up to 240 base damage plus 1.3 total AD, and grants plus 50 up to 101% attack speed for 5 seconds. And the Q grants ferocity and attack speed versus towers, but it does not deal the bonus damage. Again, all this is essentially the exact same thing prior to the rework. Particles and sounds have been added and re-added to support the old Q animation and buffs. This includes stuff for skins, and the old icon is also back. But that is not it for Rengar just yet, because there's also changes to his ultimate, which are the following. The range at which enemies can now sense Rengar has actually been lowered to 1600 period. Rather than starting at 2000 and going all the way up to 4000, the range at which Rengar can track the nearest enemy has been changed from starting at 2000 up to 4000 to now starting at 2500 up to 3500. A little bit better rank 1, about the same at rank 2, and a little bit worse at rank 3. The movement speed has also been increased from just a flat 40% to now 40, 50, and up to 60% by rank 3 of his ultimates, and the closest enemy leap bonus has been changed from providing a critical strike to now providing up to 350 base damage, which is a lot, plus 0.8 bonus AD and plus 0.8 bonus AP, and still dealing physical damage. So this is actually quite interesting. I actually wouldn't be too surprised if we maybe, just maybe, start seeing this kind of sort of almost like a hybrid Rengar build where you go Gunblade. Again, it kind of, helps with the overall burst, since now again he gets the bonus damage from his ultimate with the extra AP. His passive gives him this, random kind of AP as well. And with the Gunblade active effect, I mean, it's a lot of burst damage, and you just go from that straight into actual AD items, and that could be pretty damn spicy. But there you guys have the rework of a Rengar. Let me know what you think about it down below. Personally, I actually am very happy that they changed it back. I thought the new Rengar Q was honestly kind of silly. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense. He almost seems like he has some kind of weird spasm whenever he uses it, and it really just didn't make a whole lot of sense. This Q is a lot more fitting for Rengar. It makes more sense. It just feels better, more fluid, but it is also a little bit faster in the amount of burst damage that he can deal. But the part that I'm a little confused about is how he now has these extra AP bonuses and scaling on his ultimate and things like that, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, though I'm not entirely sure. So those were the biggest changes in this video, but there are still a few more to talk about, the first of which being Tryndamere. The HP regeneration on Tryndamere has been lowered, but his AD growth has actually been increased. Bloodlust, his Q ability, the AD has actually been increased on this, not by a whole lot, but still by enough. And Spinning Slash, the E ability, the bonus AD ratio has been increased by 10%. Not the biggest buffs to Tryndamere in the entire world, but definitely ones that you can't just simply look past, because they will mean something. So maybe Tryndamere will be actually pretty good next patch. Moving along, we also have some buffs coming over to Victor, who apparently now is one of the worst mid lane champions in the game. The buffs are as follows. The HP regen has actually been ever so slightly increased. Then we have his Siphon Power, his Q. The augmented version of this now states Siphon Power's shield is a double. So I mean, that's actually pretty damn good. I think that might actually be a little too much in my honest opinion, but we'll see how it goes. Then we also have his E ability, Death Ray, where the cooldown on this ability has been lowered by 1 second at every single rank. I mean, not the biggest buff in the world, but hey, any little buff at this point for Victor definitely counts. And Chaos Storm, his R, or his ultimates, the AP ratio has been increased by 10%, and the damage has also been increased by 50 rank 1, 75 rank 2, and a whole 100 rank 3. Honestly, some pretty decent buffs to Victor, especially the buff to his Q ability where now he gets the double shield. I think that's actually going to be pretty damn strong. And I won't be surprised if that gets nerfed fairly quickly, because that's just gonna be, I'm trying to picture it right now, whether it's laning phase, whether it's in team fights, he's gonna be spamming that thing pretty often. I mean, the cooldown on this ability, it really isn't all that long, and getting this over and over and over, it's going to be pretty spicy. Now, right before I end off this video, there's actually two things I have to talk about as well regarding the runes. First of which, we have the Manaflow band, which actually essentially got a mini rework. The cooldown on this Manaflow band rune has been lowered from 75 to 45 seconds, and what it actually does now has also been changed, because it now states the following. Your next ability refunds 35% of its mana, rather than just the full mana cost being refunded, while also getting a new effect that states if the ability damages an enemy or aids an ally, permanently gain 15 mana. So this instantly makes me start thinking about champions that build Archangel Staff. I mean, maybe Ryze, maybe Anivia, champions like that can really just benefit off of this, and it's a pretty interesting thing. Maybe even supports can actually start getting this as well and find it quite useful. Like for instance, think of maybe someone like Sona. Pretty damn good. But next, I also want to quickly mention magical footwear being nerfed, and it states the following now. Free boots arrival has actually been increased from 10 minutes to 12 minutes. Takedowns, however, reduce the time by 45 seconds now rather than 30. So if you keep getting takedowns, aka a kill or an assist, you'll get it a little bit quicker depending on how many you get. But no longer will that boots cost 50 gold less to upgrade into other boots. That is just no longer a thing. But there you guys have it, an early look into patch 8.3 on the PvE server. A whole lot of information already just after day 1. We have the 2 mini reworks happening to Mastery and to Rengar. We have Katarina finally being nerfed, and we also have essentially a mini rework happening to Manaflow ban, some pretty big changes to Victor, or I guess buffs, which he definitely needs, and magical footwear finally isn't being as of value. So there you guys have it. If you enjoyed the video, then let me know by hitting that like button, share with your friends, let everyone else see these big changes coming to champions like Rengar and Master Yi. Subscribe if you haven't, check out my other videos as well, but thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next video. Peace.